Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Becoming a Trusted Voice. I'm your host, Mike Gonzalez. And in this mini series, we're actually unpacking the Trusted Voice Framework SARTO method. In the last episode, we unpacked the letter S, which stands for subject. In this episode, we're going to unpack the letter A, which stands for aspiration. Think of the aspiration as the world in which your customer is moving towards. It's the world in which they want to live in, that they're aspiring and making goals to one day see as their own reality. It's very important to have an alignment between your aspirations and your customer's aspirations, because ultimately this is the glue to building trust. A prime example of this is when you hear people who are, let's say, launching initiatives for education and they want to encourage children to read more and they want to see literacy rates increase, right? That is a noble, lofty goal. It is a great aspiration. But when you don't understand the values of the person who's saying it, it can mean something very different than what the audience can interpret that as. One way to think about this is someone who might say that they want to have more children reading and we need access to more books. Well, what does that actually mean? Some groups actually believe that the books that they want to put in front of children may actually not be age appropriate or family friendly. And as a result of that, children are getting access to more books, but the content inside of the books are actually causing more harm to children. In the same way, someone who has the aspiration to have a world where the content that children can read and consume and watch and engage with are family friendly and age appropriate, that is a different outcome or aspiration than someone who just simply wants to give children access to more books. The value alignment and the aspiration needs to match. That way, when people are inviting someone to come onto a journey, that they know and have the confidence to know that you're leading them to the outcome that they themselves want to see. This is what happened in 2020 when a lot of organizations were beginning to describe ideas of unity and ideas of listening and understanding and creating reconciliation between racial division. There were literally these general statements that were being made, but there were very different motives behind these statements. You had some groups that literally thought that that meant African Americans can now be racist towards non-African Americans. And then you had others who were hoping to actually see reconciliation and, do life together without racial division. And so the aspiration is very important, and aligning that with the values of your audience and the values that you hold also are key. So when you're beginning to think about the aspiration, you want to understand, where am I trying to take my audience? And where does my audience want to go? And are we creating alignment between the two? Because without that alignment, I can place ideas out into the world and have aspirations for my audience, and they themselves can watch my content and realize that the steps that I'm giving or the advice I'm giving is not moving them closer towards a world that they want to live in. Now their trust is lost. And so some of the ways you can figure out the aspiration of your audience is first by starting to listen and understand, what is your customer saying about the offerings that you provide. So look at your sales data, look at your CRMs, look at the comments and feedback that your customers are sharing and all the ways in which they can engage with your brand. And look for some of the success stories and see why they chose to do business with you. Look at some of the problems that they were having and derive from the problem statements what they were trying to accomplish. That is how you can understand your audience's aspiration. And then once you understand their aspiration, then you can begin to anticipate the steps or the journey that you need to take them on through your content, whether it's educating or entertaining or a mix of the two, to help them engage with you, come back, and resonate with the message that you're sharing with your audience. That's what the aspiration is all about. Then we begin to start moving towards understanding the routines of your audience. That is the next step in the SARTO method. And I will unpack that in another episode. But in short, the routines are influenced by the aspiration. Once you know where they're going, then you're going to understand the things that they're already making the headspace for in the calendar time to engage with. And the advice that you share can then be aligned with the things that they're already paying attention to. That is the power of aligning the subject, the aspiration, and eventually the routines, the threats, and the opinions. So in the next episode, we're going to unpack what the routines are, how it fits, how you can discover them. But until then, go to trustedvoiceframework.com to find out more information, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode. If you're like me, you probably are planning a lot of content for yourself or on behalf of your clients. And the best way to plan content is with clarity, understanding who your customers are, how they think, and what matters to them. And so I'm actually hosting a live workshop around the Trusted Voice framework. In this workshop, you're going to learn all about the framework. We're going to go deep into the methods of how you can conduct audience research, how you can then take those findings from audience research and apply it into an ideal customer profile that is tailored to helping you show up as a friend and resonate with your audience. This content that you'll create as a result of the framework is actually going to allow the people who hear the content, whether it's for your firm, your studio, or even for your clients, to become advocates, word of mouth advocates for whatever it is that they're listening to, because the methods that we teach within Trusted Voice Framework actually helps you show up as a trusted voice to the people who are listening. Rather than noise that most people hear through advertising, you're going to understand how to align yourself, align your company with the values that you hold and the values that your audience holds. There needs to be an alignment between values, and that is what the customers are looking for today. And so Trusted Voice Framework is going to unpack how you do that, the methods to uncover those insights. And I'm going to be hosting this live 2-hour event to walk you through that process and certify you in this ability to provide this for your customers at your company. So go to trustedvoiceframework.com to learn more. Look forward to seeing you there.